Jean-Paul Sartre's Existentialism and Human Emotions is one of the clearest introductions to existentialist thought. In this book, Sartre explains his philosophy in simple terms and defends it against critics. He discusses what it means to be free, responsible, and human in a world without any fixed meaning or divine plan. Much of the book is based on his lecture, Existentialism is a Humanism, where he explains the ideas of existence, freedom, and moral choice. The main idea is that existence precedes essence. This means that humans are not born with fixed nature or purpose. A tool like a knife is made with a specific purpose already decided by its maker. But people are different. We exist first and then define who we are through our actions and decisions. There is no God or higher plane that tells us what we should be. We must create our own meaning and values. Because of this, humans are completely free and responsible for who they become. Man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. Every time we make a choice, we not only define ourselves but also express what we think a human being should be. Therefore, our personal choices have universal importance. They shape both our identity and humanity's image. Complete freedom can feel overwhelming. Sartre calls this feeling anguish. It comes from realizing that every choice we make affects not only our own life but also what we think is right for all people. For example, if a soldier decides to send others into battle, his decision reflects his belief about what all humans should do in that situation. Sartre's famous phrase, "Man is condemned to be free," captures this idea. We did not choose to exist, but once we are alive, we must make choices and take full responsibility for them. There is no excuse, neither fate, nor emotions, nor outside authority can take away our responsibility. Even feelings and impulses are choices that show who we are. Freedom also leads to forlornness or the realization that there is no divine or moral order guiding us. Since there is no God or universal moral law, humans must create meaning for themselves. This may sound depressing, but Sartre sees it as empowering. It means we have the creative power to shape our own lives. He criticizes those who still try to hold on to moral values from religion while claiming to be secular. Such people are inconsistent. They reject God but still act as if fixed values exist. Existentialism accepts the full truth of atheism. Values exist only because humans create them. Sartre uses the example of a young man during World War II to explain moral choice. The student must decide whether to stay with his mother, who depends on him, or to join the resistance and fight. No rule, religious or philosophical, can tell him what to do. Every moral system is too general to answer specific personal dilemmas. The young man must make his own decision and take full responsibility for it. In making this choice, he not only defines himself but also creates his own values. There is no right answer given by any system, only the meaning he gives to his own act. Values are not discovered but created. Life has no built in meaning. It becomes meaningful only when we commit ourselves to our choice. The only test of a choice's authenticity is whether it is made freely and sincerely. Sartre also discusses despair, which means accepting the limits of what we can control. We can only act based on what is possible in our situation. We cannot rely on miracles, destiny, or the goodwill of others. Acting in despair means facing reality honestly without false hopes. But this does not mean giving up or being passive. Existentialism is not about withdrawal but about engagement and action. To exist is to act, to do something with our freedom. Meaning is created only through active participation in the world. Critics often accuse existentialism of being selfish or isolated because it starts from the individual. Sartre disagrees. He says subjectivity, starting from one's own consciousness, is the only logical starting point. When we become aware of ourselves, we also become aware of others as free beings. This leads to intersubjectivity, the understanding that our freedom is connected with the freedom of others. True freedom means recognizing and respecting the freedom of others. We cannot want freedom just for ourselves, we must want it for everyone. Existentialism supports human solidarity, not selfishness. All humans share certain basic conditions: working, living with others, facing death. These are universal, though our historical and cultural situations differ. Humanity is not a fixed idea, but something we constantly create together through our choices and relationships. Sartre uses the term bad faith to describe the act of lying to ourselves to escape responsibility. People in bad faith blame their actions on external forces, such as their job, society, or emotions, instead of admitting they choose them. A coward, for instance, is not born cowardly, he becomes one by repeatedly avoiding courage. A hero is made in the same way by his choices. Living authentically means accepting full responsibility for everything we do and refusing to hide behind excuses. It requires honesty and courage to face the truth of our freedom. In the final part of the book, Sartre defines humanism. Traditional humanism, especially from the Enlightenment, celebrated humanity as a fixed and perfectible ideal. Sartre rejects this idea. For him, true humanism recognizes that humans have no set essence. They continually create themselves through their choices. To be human is to go beyond oneself, to imagine, act, and create imagining. The universe has meaning only through human experience and thought. Existentialism is therefore deeply humanistic because it respects human creativity, dignity, and freedom. In his later writings, Sartre explains that freedom is the foundation of all ethics. Every person is responsible not only for themselves but for the world as a whole, because meaning depends on human choice and interpretation. Even war, he says, is our war because by accepting or rejecting it, we define who we are.